In this episode, I'm going to look at the Luxon Multifunctional 7-in-1 safety hammer. This is a safety device you carry in your car for use in emergencies. So let's check it out. We're going to take a look at this multifunctional safety hammer. It's a 7-in-1 tool by Luxon. And what this is for is to carry this in your car so if you get in an accident, you can break the window to get out and cut your seatbelt, etc. It has a bunch of other safety tools with it. So let's just open it up and take a look at the unit itself. Inside here there's an instruction manual. Let's take a look at some of the features that this unit has. So this is an emergency toolkit that you would carry in your car to be used in the event of if you're in an accident or if your cell phone's out of power. It has a USB charger with an 1800 milliamp hour battery. It can be charged from your USB charger through the input, and of course will provide power to charge your cell phone in case your cell phone goes dead. So it's an 1800 milliamp hour battery. It's also a flashlight. If we press the button on here, it'll turn the flashlight on. Two brightnesses of the flashlight. It's actually fairly bright, as well as a strobe function. It also has an emergency beacon. So if you press the button on the side, that'll turn on and off the strobe light. A red flashing beacon. Has magnets built into the bottom so that you can attach it to your hood of your car and it'll stay there. So if you are broken down at the side of the road, for example, you can turn on the beacon and alert people that you are stopped on the side of the road. It also has a built-in seatbelt cutter so that if you're in an accident and your car is rolled over and your seatbelt's jammed and you can't get your seatbelt open, it has a very sharp blade in here that will cut through your seatbelt. Kind of like I can cut through this paper here. If we get this thing to cooperate, it has a blade that'll cut your seatbelt. Very sharp blade, and it's protected, so you're not going to cut your fingers with it, but it's there. It also has a hammer that you can use to break the window. So again, if you're trapped in the car, it has a carbide tip hammer. Open up the cap, and now you can, as you can see, it's left a dent in my bench. That'll break glass if you are trapped in your car. It has a little cover over it to protect it. It also has a crank charge, so if the battery is weak, you can crank to charge the internal battery. This is a great idea because if you're carrying this in your car, say, so that if your cell phone goes dead and you forgot to charge the unit, or if the battery itself is dead, or you've charged your cell phone and now the battery's dead and you need to get a little extra power, you can crank to charge the internal battery, and of course that will also charge the cell phone. You notice when I crank this, the light's going to start flashing to indicate that I'm charging the battery. To charge the cell phone, just take the included USB cable, plug it into the USB port, just plug the cell phone in. The light will turn on here to indicate that the power converter has been turned on, and you'll notice the cell phone now has the charge indicator indicating that I'm charging the battery. The cell phone is charged from the internal battery, not from the crank. So if you are charging your cell phone, you can't be cranking it at the same time. You have to, if your battery is dead in here, you'll have to crank to put some charge into the battery and then use that to charge your cell phone. So once you've charged your cell phone, if you're trying to call for help, you could be cranking the unit to put some charge back into the battery. You'll notice that if I start to crank it while the charge indicator is indicating that it's charging, you'll notice the charge indicator here. If I start to crank this, the charge indicator goes out, because now I'm charging the internal battery, not the cell phone. If I stop cranking, I need to actually disconnect the power either from the phone or from here, and then reconnect it, and then it'll turn on again. and start charging the cell phone. So that's the cell phone charger. The battery, internal battery, can also be charged from mains power. So if you want to charge this up when you're at home, you can plug this in and plug it into a standard USB charge cord, and it'll charge the internal battery. So now I'll plug my power adapter in, and you'll see the light starts flashing. Light flashing indicates the battery is charging internal. The same as if I crank. Battery is now charging. Flashing light is battery charging. Light on is battery in power mode or power bank mode. So if I now take this, connect it back to the cell phone, light will come on, phone goes into charge. That's the cell phone charge feature. Right there, it's worth having this in your car, because you never know if you're in an accident and your phone is dead. It's always good to have backup power. And if you're trapped in your car, having a seatbelt cutter and a way to break the window from the inside to get out might save your life. So I think this might be a good accessory to have. Gain the multifunction switch here, press the button and hold. It'll turn on the beacon that flashes. It also turns on the cell phone charger. It's on now. It'll turn itself on when you plug it in, or just press the button and it'll turn on the cell phone charger. Press and hold to turn on the beacon. The other power switch on the front here is for the flashlight. If you press, it turns on the flashlight on high power. Press it again, the flashlight is on lower power. Press it a third time, it's in strobe mode. If you press and hold the multifunction button, it goes into SOS mode, which blinks out SOS. Press the button again to cancel. That's basically it for the operation. Let's open this thing up and see how it's built. So here's the inner workings of the unit. As you can see, just a couple of LEDs down here in the base. There's a switch on the side. Turns on the strobe lights. This is the power light for the buck converter. And then there's the main power button here. This controls the main flashlight. And then this is the dynamo, the generator. As you can see, it's just a basic little, I think it's just a little DC motor on this one. Nope, it's got 3 wires, so it's a 3-phase motor, and they'd be here. They hear the three wires here for the 3 different coils. The actual crank is part of the handle itself, so it's all just connected up by a little hex connector here. But as this spins, the AC signal that is produced in the 3 coils of this little motor are rectified here by a bridge rectifier and is used to charge the battery. The battery that's on here is below here. We're going to take a look at that. This looks like a standard 18650 is what it looks like. Let's just find out exactly what size the battery is. There you go, there's the battery. It's just a standard 18650. It's got a little bracket that holds it in place. So I don't think there's any need to tear that down anymore. It's just a regular 18650. They're saying 1800 milliamp hours. Just see whether we can see a capacity on here or not. I think this is all, no, this isn't going to come out. This is all one piece. I don't want to tear this down any more than it is. But here's your USB charge, and the buck converter is all in here. You can see the circuitry down here. So this circuitry over here is going to be dealing with the flashing the lights here and controlling the LED. The actual USB charging circuitry, you can actually see it right down here below the gear assembly. So there's your charging circuit. Charging controller is right here, and your buck converter. So we'll put the little circuit board back in and plug it back together. I'll plug it in and put it back together. And I'm just going to put this back together and throw this in my car, as that's what it's for. It's to have in your car in case the unthinkable happens and you're in an accident and you're trapped. You know, no one plans on having a car accident. Touch wood, I've never had one, but you never know, right? So it's always a good idea to plan ahead and be prepared for if there's an emergency. Or for that matter, you could be driving along the road and come across another accident and someone's trapped in their car and they need to get out. You can use a safety tool like this to break the window and cut the seatbelt to drag someone out of a car that could be trapped. So it's always a good idea to have something on hand. I always recommend people carry a fire extinguisher in the car as well, which I'm the first to admit that I don't, but I probably should have one, because a number of years ago, it was 2010, I guess it was 2010, because the Olympics were on at the time. I was working and I happened across a bad accident that had happened on the highway ahead of me. And there was a man trapped in a burning car, and I had a fire extinguisher in my truck. I was one of the first people on the scene. And myself and a few other motorists that stopped were able to keep the fire under control until the fire department got there and rescued this man that was trapped in this vehicle. And it was a real bad accident. It was a head-on collision involving an impaired driver, I might add. The man that lived was a passenger in the vehicle that was being driven by a man that had no license, had his driving privileges revoked, and had had multiple impaired driving charges against him. We don't have to worry about him anymore because he didn't make it, but it could have been worse. But the passenger made it, and but he was trapped in the vehicle and had to be removed by the firemen. But let's just say had a fire extinguisher and was able to help. So it's a good idea to have something in your car that you can help if you just happen to come across an accident. Something like this could be useful if someone's trapped and they got a seatbelt that's jammed, to cut them, to get them out. And of course, it's got your flashlight, and more importantly, you've got a way to power your cell phone up in the event that your battery is dead. Anyway, that's basically the unit. It's made by Luxon, came from Amazon. Link to this is in the description, and we'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.